Hello again. It's Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit here on MAV TV, talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. And we are so glad that you joined us. Steve Post here, joined as I am each and every week, zooming our way through 2020 with Ashley Strummy. How are you, Ashley?
Doing great. Another week down, another week of great racing.
Oh my gosh, the racing has been unreal in the sprint car world. And the thing of it is, we thought maybe early when there was one a week, it was like, okay, it's one, but it's spectacular. Well, then it got to be two, then the Outlaws and the All-Stars, and we got three, and then we got four. Now Pennsylvania's up and running, Ohio's up and running, and it's like 20 and still spectacular. It's absolutely been amazing racing this year.
Hey, I know we've talked about Corona and how it's put a damper on our sprint car racing, but I think it's truly made us realize how fortunate we are because, like you said, at this point in the year, it's normal. You know, we're racing this many races. There's good racing, but we're so appreciative of it now because we went without it for so long.
You're probably right about that. Yeah, you look at this time of the year, we would normally be up to our elbows in Ohio Speed Week and getting ready for Pennsylvania Speed Week, which Ohio Speed Week looks like it might be a little later, and it looks like Pennsylvania Speed. Ashley, it looks like Pennsylvania Speed Week might be run on schedule, and selfishly, it looks like B, someone may be going to a couple of races.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you because you're going to be a lucky dog hitting some of those races up there, but I'll be hitting some races here in my future as well.
Really? Oh, we might have to carve out a moment or two at the end to share where we're all going here. But we're going to have Shane Stewart join us, and I can't wait to talk to Shane. He drives that Indy Race Parts car, and just one of the great guys. Love chatting with Shane Stewart. So we're going to have him. We talked about the great racing. This was some great racing down in Kilgore, Texas on Saturday night. It is on Flow Racing. It is the All-Stars. Blake Anderson with the call. Aaron Reitzel and Corey Eliason just going at each other. It's our Dryden Diesel all death-defying move of the week.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Eliason to the back bumper of a lap car of Danny Smith. That'll open the door for Reitzel. Reitzel's right there in the wing going for the lead. Lap 9, now we come to 10. Reitzel throws a slider, and you've got a new leader.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official DEF of the world of outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit here on MAV TV. Let's get right to it. The Hercules Tire Hotline joining us out in the hinterlands of America, working full-time, sprint car racing all the time. Shane Stewart joins us. Hello, Shane. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, Shane, always good to chat with you. We'll talk about the Monday through Friday job, but I do want to talk about that Indy car parts or Indy parts car. How about that? And getting the ride with Bernie and getting back to racing. We know the off season had to be concerning for you. How nice has it been to team up with Bernie and Betsy and start this season off pretty good?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Until this last weekend, we've actually had several really good, strong races. I feel like our program is getting better and better. We keep finding things to get me more and more comfortable in the car, and we had really high hopes going into Knoxville of having a couple good runs. And Friday night, I actually finished. I ran the whole race with no brakes, believe it or not, and still finished a pretty strong finish considering. And Saturday, obviously, a little mishap in my heat, and it just put us behind. And we've got volunteer crew, and we were putting the car back together, and nobody's fault but mine. But I put the right rear arm falling off in the B main and killed our night. But My car has been really fast, and it's been really fun to go to the racetrack again. I've been competitive, and it's been a lot of fun. It really has.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're having fun. Obviously, at the end of last year, you know, we knew you were without a ride. How has it been? Because we know as racers that to get your next ride, you have to be seen, you have to be visual, you have to be at the racetrack. What has it been like fighting this COVID that we've been dealing with, not racing for several months here, and kind of, has that been a blessing or has it hurt you more, you think, but now that you're in the 71?
Well, hang on. Sorry, guys. Hey, I'm on the, I don't know if you, Wing Nation, say hi, Chad.
Hey.
Hey.
We're working.
What's going on, man?
How are you guys?
Good. We're doing good. And you?
Oh, we're just staying busy, you know.
That's good.
Trying to make a living because we didn't make much of one this week.
Yeah, that's what I just told him.
See you guys.
Yeah,
All
no.
right,
To answer your question, you know, I think I was, along with everybody else, ready to get back to the racetrack. I put together a small deal with Sides to get to Volusia, and that's how even before I had full-time rides, I always felt like if I could keep myself in front of people, whether, you know, back in the day when I helped Andy Hillenberg, I felt like if I was at the racetrack, I could always listen to people talk, and I always knew if a ride opened up. And I've kind of felt like I needed to approach, I haven't had to worry about that for a long time, but I felt like this year I needed to approach it the same way. Keep myself in front of everybody, try to get in cars that I felt like I was going to be competitive in. And I was, you know, fortunate to be able to get to Volusia with Jason, not knowing that I wouldn't miss an outlaw race for 3 months. And you know, we're not far off in the points, to be honest. But you know, the COVID thing was frustrating for me, just like it was everybody else. And you know, I still, my main living is driving sprint cars and trying to build a business on the side, but it's going to take a few years before it starts making money. So I need a race to be able to feed my family. So that part of it was frustrating.
You said a couple things that have kind of jumped out at me as we go through this. And you said back at the racetrack having fun. And you sound a little bit like a guy named Paul McMahon. You sound a little bit like a guy named Joey Saldana. You sound a little bit like some other guys we've talked to. How important is that to be in a spot? Because I think a lot of you guys have been in spots where it's not been fun. Fred Raymer talked about it at one time too. A lot of guys have not been fun. How important is it to have that comfort and that fun factor going into a race?
Well, Steve, look, like I take my job very seriously, and I know, it's a full-time job. It takes a lot of hours, a lot of money to go do what we do. But I still feel like it's like anything, right? You got to enjoy what you do. And I honestly just wasn't having any fun racing, and it showed. But this year, I didn't know what to expect. I knew Bernie's cars were always fast, and I knew Gio went really well with them. And Bernie's program has actually gotten a lot stronger since I drove for him, several years ago. And we have great horsepower underneath the hood with Charlie Garrett. And, Charlie's excited to work with us, and Bernie and I, honestly, you know what? It's been pretty nice because I race Friday and Saturday. I get to the shop on Monday. I try to do my maintenance on Monday and Tuesday, spend a couple of days with my family, and then we're off to the racetrack again. So that part of it's been pretty nice schedule-wise. But I'm just having fun, and we're competitive when we go to the racetrack, and that's part of having fun, right? Like, it would be frustrating as always if we went to the racetrack and we struggled, but we haven't been struggling. So we've just been enjoying ourselves.
Boy, that is so good to hear. So good to hear for sure. Hey, we need to take a break, but hang in there with us, Shane. Everyone else, hang in there, and we'll be back more with Shane Stewart in just a moment.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honeycrisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy.
Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, rolling along. Joining us on the Hercules Tire Hotline is Shane Stewart. All right, Shane. So we've been riding along with you here. We've talked about sprint car racing and you're full time, but you're building a business. What are you building? What do you do? What's going on here? Where are we on the work site here today?
Yeah, we're actually headed to Paragon Speedway to drop off some portable toilets for their race they're going to have tomorrow for Midget Week. So it's our first 8 portables going out the door as we speak. And Chad and I, we actually discussed, Chad Batesflew and I discussed about trying to start a little small business. And you know, it's hard these days to try to find a company that makes you money while you're sleeping. And that's rental things, right? Things that you could rent. And so we discussed about trying to get a portable business started, and you know, obviously with the COVID stuff going around, there wasn't very many gatherings, and people weren't calling to rent portables. But now that people are starting to get back to work and weddings are happening, and obviously racetracks are starting to have races again, and fans are becoming the norm, which is exciting. And with that, you know, our phone started ringing. So Chad and I are on our way to Paragon to drop off some portable toilets.
I love it. That is absolutely great. And, you know, besides playing in other people's poo, it sounds like you've been playing in some other poo as well. A new baby boy, what's it been like? Obviously with Nixon and now the addition of your son.
Yeah, so Nixon, obviously, you know, she's 5, going on 12, but she being the only one in the family, having a new addition has been entertaining, to say the least. But she's a handful. We love Nixon, but she's hard work. And Lane, you know, I'm so lucky because I have a beautiful family and my kids are healthy, and I don't ever take that for granted. So it's been fun watching Nixon play with her brother and learning that she's not the only one in the family anymore. There's 2, so we have to share, and it's been fun. It's been fun.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it really has been. That's for sure. And I think that's one of the things we talk to people. You do the full-time outlaw deal, and you've just spent the last 3 months of your life in California sitting in hotels. It is kind of a blessing. You say you get a day or 2 a week with the family. That's something Shane Stewart might not have been able to do a couple years ago.
Well, you know, Steve, I was fortunate to have a motorhome.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I traveled full time, and you know, my family was always with me. And I honestly, I don't think I could have done it without that. I just feel like you miss out on too many family things, not having them with you full time. And obviously, Nixon's at the age now where she's going to start school, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. If we're going to homeschool or if we're going to put her in a regular public school, and you know, that's just some of the things that families out here, you know, have to deal with when their kids, you know, get old enough to start school. But it has been fun to be able to hang out with them a couple days a week. We have a swimming pool at home, and Nixon's learned how to, you know, she pretty much taught herself how to swim, and she's enjoying that too. So it's been good.
As many young kids that are on the road with the World of Outlaws, it seems like you almost need to start a school amongst yourself, homeschooling everyone with all the kids that are going around. But I mean, how awesome has that been for you and for Nixon to be able to kind of show her the world that she's been able to see that most kids at her age would have never saw?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We were just talking about going to Disney World because we always try to go there when we go to Florida. And I'm like, man, I hope she remembers it. You know, because I don't remember much when I was 4 and 5 years old, but you know, she has became really good friends with the Pittman girls. good buddy Jax that she FaceTimes all the time, you know, because there was a time period in there where they didn't get to see each other for a while. And, you know, she just has some really close buddies, and you don't realize it until like the other day. You know, I've been going to the racetrack with Bernie without them, riding with Bernie, working, and then going back to the house and seeing them when I wake up on Sunday. Well, we finally told her that she was going to be able to go to the racetrack, and she was so excited to get back to the track and see her buddies. So I didn't really think about it until I saw her expression of how excited she was to get back to the normal life that she's used to. So that was pretty cool.
Pretty cool for sure. The normal life of sprint car kids. This show started with Kendra Jacobs, who grew up in a motor coach, and she has shared a lot of that, and it's great to see that generation after generation after generation to roll along. Well, Shane, we're going to let you get back to business, back to the deliveries and everything. We appreciate the time. Wish you continued success with Bernie in that 71 car and success with the new business venture as well.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There we go. Shane Stewart joining us here on our Hercules Tire Hotline. Stay with us. Your seat tweets of the week are coming up next.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back. You're watching Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit, and it is your time of the week. That's right. It's time to tweet your seats, and we're kicking it off with none other than my home track, the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway, and that place was jam-packed. The tweets come from KSL, Ashley, Mark, Zach, Derek, Ben, David, Chris, Adam, Danielle, and Andy. It was the season reopener, if you will. And Saturday night, Mike Wagner. It feels so good to say that name. He's been in a drought for the last 6 years. So cool to finally see him pick up another win, followed by Jeff Halligan and TJ Stutz. And then on Sunday, back-to-back races this weekend, Anthony Macri picked up the win after they took the haul from Knoxville, and he was followed by Logan Wagner and Brent Marks.
Great stuff. Great to see the Speed Palace back up and running. Just down the road a piece is the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. Tweets from Tom, from Matt, and from Jeff. It was Fallen Firefighters Night. They always do a great job with this at Lincoln Speedway, and a great job on the racetrack was Freddie Raymer, his first Lincoln win of the season. Raymer was followed by The Edge, Brian Monteith, and Chase Dietz.
Well, speaking of Freddie Raymer, we're going to jump on over to Selinsgrove Speedway. This tweet comes from Nathan. Friday night for the 410s, Freddie picked up the win, his first win of the season, and the first win at Selinsgrove. 195th different sprint car winner at Selinsgrove Speedway. Really cool stuff there. Kyle Reinhardt and Jeff Halligan rounded out your top three.
Pretty good weekend for Jeff Halligan there with a couple of podium finishes. He's a young racer coming onto his own in Pennsylvania. The World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars was at the not at the Fabulous. They were at the historic Knoxville Raceway. These tweets from Dawn, Melinda, Mindy, Chad, BKM, Cody, and Johnny. It was the Brownells Big Gun Bash, and it was all Kyle Larson all the time, but some great racing for sure. Friday night, it was Larson, Schatz, and Gravel mixing it up and finishing in that order. On Saturday night, it was Larson, Brad Sweet, and Logan Schuhart mixing it up, with Larson getting the win. 3 All-Star wins last week, followed by 2 Outlaw wins, 5 wins in a row, and love seeing the tweet of the wing dance by Owen. I thought that was really cool to have Owen back in victory lane.
It was super cute for sure. This tweet comes from Tim. He was at Wilmot Raceway for the Wisconsin IRA season opener. Your winner, no surprise, Bill Baylog picked up the win. I'd love to know what number that is for him at this point. He was followed by Jeremy Schultz and Blake Nimme.
All right, over at Wayne County Speedway in Ohio, they reopened. This tweet from Sherry. It was the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association. Cap Henry, he had a big weekend as well. He won Friday night at Attica, and he backed it up with this win at Wayne County Speedway. It was Cap Henry, it was Jordan Harble, and Cole Macedo on the podium at Wayne County.
The MSA 360 sprints were at the Plymouth Dirt Track. This tweet comes from Spencer. Adam Miller was your winner. It is his second career MSA win, and he was followed by Travis Arntz and Tim Hattie.
More 360 racing, I-96 Speedway. Derek and Becky were there. It was the Great Lakes Super Sprints where Jared Horseman picked up the win over Max Stambaugh and Greg Dolman.
The next night at Hattiesburg, the tweet comes from D. Sims. It was the USCS Speed Week. Mark Smith, again, your winner, followed by Dale Howard and Jordan Mallett.
Yes, indeed, and I love this one. Look at this. Justin Cox, he won at Placerville, and this is his son Jameson with the Victory Lane sign. Oh, my gosh, isn't that cool? We love seeing kids, and when they're racers' kids, it is really, really sweet. Good stuff, that is for sure. You know, have you ever heard of the FPS 410 sprint car engine? Well, if you haven't, you will.
Tony Stewart used it in his team sprint car for the first time in mid-August last year. And 2 weeks later, TRS scored its first 410-equipped victory with the legendary Donnie Schatz behind the wheel.
Yes, indeed. It is a collaboration between Ford Performance, Tony Stewart Racing, and Durham Racing Engines. And what is the future for Ford's FPS racing program? Well, their goal is to build an engine that can challenge for victories in series all across the country as part of a Ford Performance customer program. Now that sounds like a winner. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy.
Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
There are people who say things aren't made here anymore. Those people should make a trip to Michigan, or Kentucky, or Illinois, where you'll find our workers and dealers and engineers and technicians building for America. We're proud to employ more hourly workers than any other automaker in this country because we build for this country.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit here on MAV TV. Great to catch up with Shane Stewart. It always is. Now, okay, at the top of the show, we talked about we may go see some racing. Ashley, what might be on your horizon?
Well, as announced earlier in the week, the World of Outlaws are doing an incredible 3-week stint with CBS Sports. They're going to be hitting Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Lernerville in Pennsylvania, and then Cedar Lake, Wisconsin. And I am excited to say that I'm going to be a small part of that.
Really?
Yes. So I will finally get to see some sprint cars in person.
Oh my gosh, good for you. That is exciting news. Really, really cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be at my home track.
Yes, what I'm doing is Pennsylvania Speed Week. Okay, it wraps up into the 4th of July weekend. So on Thursday, I'm going to get in the car and boogity to Hagerstown, Maryland, okay, where I get to see the Pennsylvania Posse race. Then I'm going to head further north, okay, Friday night, Williams Grove, and then I'm going to head further north for the Greg Hodnett Memorial to wrap up Pennsylvania Speed Week. That's going to be a fun day, though, because that Saturday morning, that's the 4th of July, I'm going to be at the Speed Palace. I'm going to run a 5K, my first 5K back after the COVID slowdown. So I'm really excited. Sherry Hodnett's put together a great deal with the Greg Hodnett Foundation. So I've been looking for a chance. You know, it's been really weird because as those of you that follow along closely, my real gig is NASCAR and MRN, okay? And we were all stopped for quite some time. And it's like, okay, I need to get to sprint cars. Well, the problem is we've been on such a hurry up with MRN, I haven't had a weekend to do anything. And so the first weekend off, I will get a chance to go up to Pennsylvania and see the Pennsylvania Posse. There's no place in the world I'd rather be. That is going to be fun stuff.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm glad to see they're doing the 5K again. That's awesome.
Good times, that's for sure. I'm lucky. Can't wait to get up there. That is for sure. Hey, for Ashley Strummy, I'm Steve Bose. Thanks for joining us this week on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit.